Joining me today is an Iraq War veteran, a political analyst, and America's favorite black, gay Republican, Rob Smith. Welcome to the Rubin Report.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
America's favorite black, gay Republican. That's
Absolutely.
a lot of pressure to put in a Twitter bio.
You know, it's a lot of pressure. I feel that about a year ago about this time, because I came out as conservative a year ago. And
Came out as conservative.
Came
it's
out
a
as
fascinating
conservative.
Phrase that we're going to talk a little
We'll
bit
get
about.
into that,
Yeah.
absolutely. But when I came out, I said, I want something pithy and catchy and kind of funny, because it's a joke, you know? America's favorite black gay Republican. I want there to be a sense of humor in it, because as you know, you use humor to bring people in, then you hit them with the facts.
So a lot of people are going to be going, wait a minute, these guys are supposed to hate identity politics, but he's saying he's America's favorite black gay
Absolutely.
Republican.
Well, here's my thing with that. I think that there's, number one, all politics is identity politics. So everybody does identity politics. The left does it and the right does it. I think that since coming out as a conservative, the way I play identity politics is this. I'm black, I'm gay, I'm an Iraq War veteran, I'm all these different things, and they don't matter about my politics because I can be all of these things and still love America.
Yeah.
And the way the left plays identity politics is we hate you evil white men, or, this is my 72 genders, or all this stuff. So I feel like they use identity politics not only in a super negative and controlling way, but as a way to get people's votes.
It sucks, though, to kind of have to do a little bit of what they do to throw it in their face, right? Because, like, anytime, I don't mention that I'm gay that often.
Yeah.
But anytime that I do, I have no problem mentioning it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to talk about
Yeah.
it. But anytime that I do, it really only is to throw the way that they use gay people.
Yeah.
It's to throw that back in their face. Like, I don't want special credit for it, you know what I mean?
I mean, there's no special credit. I think that for me, when you get into my history, and, I'm an Iraq War veteran, I protested against Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and I came out at 19 kind of like to myself and a couple of friends of my mother, but when I got out of the military at around 21 years old, because I had to serve under Don't Ask, Don't Tell, I said, I'm done with closets. So I'm going to be out as gay. So being gay to me has always kind of been a political act.
Yeah.
And when I was protesting against Don't Ask, Don't Tell and getting arrested at the White House and doing all these different things, it was always a political act for me to be gay. So even coming out as a conservative and being on the right, and I'm proudly on the right, being gay is still a political act, because I have to go into these spaces and say, I'm gay, and this is why that matters, and this is how we can change the party and change the idea of conservatism to bring more people in.
Do you ever find that conservatives have problems with gay people? Because people keep telling me that all these conservatives hate gay people, and I go to events all over the place, all over the country, all over the world, and I meet all of these conservatives. And I'm not saying there are none. Like, I have no doubt there's a certain sect of Bible thumpers, obviously, that still do. Or some people that have different religious beliefs. Ben Shapiro, from an Orthodox Jewish perspective, not thrilled with gay marriage, but now takes a libertarian approach to civilly, which I'm okay with. I don't need him to bow to my beliefs. But I don't find that there's any real pushback against gay people from conservatives anymore. I just don't see it.
This is what I've seen, and I've seen very, very little in the way of people having some problem with me being gay. In my experience, and I've been, I spoke at the Metropolitan Republican Club in New York City, and I speak at these Republican events all over the country, and it's not so much I have a problem with you being gay. It's some people say, one person came up to me and she said, you're so good looking and you're black and you're all these things. Like, why do you have to talk about the gay thing? And I told her, I was like, I talk about the gay thing because it's very important for me to talk about it, because people need to know there are gay conservatives out there that follow me right now that are afraid to come out. And so I need to take this gayness to this space and let them know that it's okay, and also let you guys know that you're missing out on a base of millions of voters by doing things that can even be construed as anti-gay.
You think it's one of those things where it's sort of, you have to do it so that it can get to the point that you don't have to do it? Is that really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was having this conversation with Candace, and I shared this at the Blexit rally over the weekend as well. Doing identity politics, you do it now so that at a certain point we don't have to do it anymore. So we have to say that I'm a gay Republican, or I'm a black Republican, or I'm a gay black conservative, or whatever you want to say, because as Americans, we have to break all that stuff down and figure out what our identity as Americans is. And that's the point for me.
Yeah, all right, so I want to talk about what it's like coming out as a conservative, as a gay black man, the rest of it, but let's just back up all together. Tell me a little bit about growing up, your family, that kind of thing.
So I am from Akron, Ohio. One of the biggest things that people like to say to discredit black conservatives is that we were all born wealthy. We were all born upper middle class, and what we're doing is we're just trying to protect our privilege.
Right.
I'm from Akron, Ohio.
So you weren't in Bel Air?
I was not in Bel Air, all right? I was in Akron, Ohio, and check the stats on Akron, Ohio. Anybody that doesn't know where that is, went to one of the worst public school systems in the state. You can look on the website right now. Akron Public Schools are rated D+. So I came from a single, mother household. I came from all this stuff. And my mother tells me this story. Now, I was too young to remember, but obviously I went to kindergarten in a school that was in my neighborhood. And my mother tells me the story about going to see me in kindergarten one day. And it was this, it was a 99% black school. People were just running around crazy. And she said, I had to pull you out of that school because I knew you weren't going to learn anything.
Wow.
Sent me to school all the way across town. The school was mostly white. That doesn't make it better. What made it better was the property taxes, and it was just a more funded school. So I was able to get that kind of base. Went back to my side of town for middle school and high school, which was just a terrible experience. And I tell people all the time when they ask me about, sort of things in the world and Western civilization, all that, I'm like, look, I went to Akron Public Schools. There are so many things that I just do not know. And so I had that experience, but in those days, and probably still today, somebody that looks like me, that comes from where I come from, if I'm not dribbling a basketball or doing whatever, they don't know what to do with you.
Yeah.
So I was not tracked into college. I wasn't tracked into any of these things. I graduated high school at barely, I think it was either 16 or barely 17, and just had no path. So I joined the military right out of high school because I needed a path, I needed a job, I needed something to do. I wish that I could say, and my military service is great, and I love this country, and that 5 years that I spent in the military is probably the greatest thing I'll ever do. But I can't lie and say that at 17 years old, I was so patriotic, I wanted to serve my country. It was a way for me to move beyond.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
All right, well, before we get to that, I can't let anyone mention basketball. I got a boy. You got any skills?
No, I don't.
Nothing?
I'm the worst
Nothing?
black man ever.
Nothing?
I am terrible at basketball.
I don't want to brag, but I won Most Improved Player of the New York City Gay Men's Basketball League.
Did you?
In, I think 2012, when I was already 37, which is the Most Improved Player at 37.
Yeah,
so
that's not bad.
That's pretty good.
It's really funny that they have that gay basketball league there. There's a part of me that has always wanted to try it, but I know it'd be so bad. And
dude, there are guys dunking. I mean, it's a serious league, and it's funny because I always, for me at least, and I wonder for you, my sports and my sexuality had nothing to do with each other ever. I never brought my sexuality when I was out on the court in any way. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. The only reason I joined that league was at that point in my life when I came out late, and I finally was like, let me just meet some. I didn't really like the bar scene or
there's nothing there.
Yeah, I didn't like that, and I was like, if there's happened to be some gay people that also like basketball, maybe I'll find some friends, and I did find some friends there, and it's and half of them it's you're gay, really?
And
when a guy dunks on you and
it's crazy. And those, some of those guys almost went pro.
Yeah,
that's how good they are. The weird thing about kind of being gay, and not only am I gay, I also used to be a fat kid. As well. So
you were really going for it here.
I'm
you got everything. Did you have a limp at any point?
I didn't have a limp.
No limp.
I did not have a limp. But it was fat, this was some fat black gay kid, was not athletic at all. So I didn't discover, because there are some sports I'm good at. I played in the gay volleyball league in New York City for a couple of years, and now I'm a pariah since I came out as conservative.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
But I thought they're all tolerant.
Yeah, right.
What are you saying? New York City gays? They're not very tolerant
inclusive.
This
not so much.
I am shocked.
But I discovered that I am athletic. And I discovered that I'm great at volleyball, great at tennis, like lifting weights, like being in shape. But that's kind of what I discovered about myself, kind of I don't want to say later in life, but definitely post 30, that I actually, have some sports skills.
Yeah, all right, good. So when you join the military, were you already sort of out to yourself? Now I'm talking about sexuality, not politics.
Not politics. No, I was certainly not a conservative then. I was out to myself, I think, in the way that a lot of gay teens are. You know, I knew that I was kind of like feeling a way about guys that I was supposed to feel about girls, but I don't know if I could really kind of quantify it in that way. And when I went into the military, they actually, in those days, actually asked you, "Are you gay?" And I said no. Not only because I didn't know how to define it at the time, but also I knew that that was a barrier to what I wanted to do. You know, so being in the military, I came out to myself, you know, started exploring my sexuality, exploring all of that stuff. And like I said, when I got done with the military, coming out was like a political act. I was like, no more closets.
Yeah. Were you finding other gay people in the military?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What is that? What was that like then? I mean, now where it's more accepted and Don't Ask, Don't Tell doesn't exist. And whatever.
The thing about, it's really funny how it is now is that there are entire Instagram accounts dedicated to gay guys in the military.
Oh, is that right?
It's called Gay Military Dudes. And I love the fact that these young gay men in the military are so open about, you know, their sexuality, and they're posting thought pics and they're doing all this. I'm like, great.
And you're saying the military hasn't crumbled since, and it's not causing demoralization, or everyone's still okay.
Everybody's still good.
Okay.
But back then there was this underground movement of gay people, gays and lesbians that were in the military. And I remember the very first Pride I went to, I was stationed in Fort Carson, Colorado, so like right in Colorado Springs, and my very first Pride was Denver Pride. So I went there, I think it was like maybe 19 or 20 at the time, and that was my first time being around lots of other gay men at the same time, and it was the first time that you know, I was getting attention from men, and like people were looking at me, and I was like, oh, he's cute, and I was like, oh, so this is what this is like. So there was a thriving underground gay culture in the military.
Were you afraid to go out and go to a gay pride parade while you're serving?
Yeah. Absolutely, because it's like, if Don't Ask, Don't Tell was tricky because it was not only you can't tell somebody that you're gay, but if you were discovered to be gay, then people would, you know, go up the chain of command and kick you out. But the thing about it is, and this is what we always realized, that nobody would care, because there were plenty of guys in my unit that knew I was gay. And funny story, there was a club called, I think it's now defunct, called Hide and Seek in Colorado Springs. And they used to be open to people under 21 after 2 a.m. So I would be,
What?
Yeah. It would be open to 21. It would be open to people under 21 after 2 a.m. because it'd be like open till 5, and they wouldn't be serving any booze. So I was young in the military. I was like maybe 20 years old. I would take a nap at 10:30 at night. I would wake up at 1:30. I would put on, I had like leather pants and a tank top. It was insane, crazy. And then drive to Hide and Seek and dance all night. And it was it was a more gay crowd, but it was mixed as well. And I saw a couple of my sergeants there.
Wow.
One time at the club. And they saw me.
They saw you, and
they saw me, and they saw me, and they were like, okay, this is interesting. And they saw me kind of like dancing with some redhead and, you know, feeling my oats. You know what I mean? Feeling myself. But I remember being terrified that weekend that they were going to out me, that they were going to like tell my superiors or whatever. It never did.
Well, but you had it on them too, right? I mean,
no, they weren't gay. Oh. They were just like they were their girlfriends because it was the after hours spot. Yeah.
Wow, I just had a completely different story going on in my head for the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, no, they were there with their girlfriends. It was an after hours spot.
Gotcha. Yeah. I thought, okay. Well,
and so they did bust me out, and a lot of these guys are still my friends to this day, my Facebook friends, and they see all the stuff that I'm doing. I'm here and there, and coming out as a Republican, I'm doing all this, and they're like, Smith, you know, we always knew you were gay, we just didn't care.
Yeah.
Because you were a good soldier.
So I know what most gay people feel about being in the closet, just how you can be as a person. It's just, you know, you're. I always felt like I was like lying all the time, accidentally. Like it wasn't even intentionalized. People would ask me something, and I could immediately, you know, where were you last night? And I could just lie without thinking. You know, it's a really twisted, dark. It's not fun to think back on that kind of thing. But for someone in the military during Don't Ask, Don't Tell, do you think that affected your ability to function as a soldier? And
I think it did, because I think that to me, the biggest thing about being closeted in the military was that it affected the relationships that I was able to have with my fellow soldiers. There was a wall there. And if I was able to just be gay and nobody cared, that wall wouldn't be there. And it's so important when you're serving with people to be able to be close to them, like literally to be able to bring your full self to work. Because not only were we serving together, I mean, we deployed together. You know, I did a tour in Kuwait, I did a tour in Iraq. These are the people that you're with. These are basically your family, and you have to hide a part of yourself. And all the times that they were hanging out or doing things that we could become closer, I was separating myself from that because I knew that there was a part of me that I had to hide.
Yeah.
And so when I bring all of that stuff now to being gay and being open as a conservative and everything, it is so important for me to be open in that way because I can't have that wall there between me and other conservatives and me and other people in the movement. And the younger conservatives have been like, these kids don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care. Some of the older ones need to kind of be brought around a little bit, but man, they don't care.
Yeah. Do you think it's just because young people somehow have started to embrace a more libertarian view of the world? I mean, it's like we've got sort of, you know, crazy leftism on one hand, which seems to be catching fire all the time and is really pushed on us by the media. But then I see, and I guess it's a little selected by who invites me to these schools, but I see such a strong libertarian like spirit with these kids. Not meaning that they're all politically libertarians at every level, but like they want to live their lives, they want to love who they love, they want to smoke whatever they want to smoke or whatever. And I'm very enthused by that.
I think that the generation right now, they really do they just want to let people live. And they want to let people do their thing. They don't care about gay, they don't care about transgender, they don't care about any of these different things. They just want to let people live. And it's really funny, like the conversation I had last night at UCLA, I had an event, and it's so funny because when I was protesting against Don't Ask, Don't Tell, I was doing a lot of lecture work, and I was talking with the young LGBT student groups, and I was just like, you can be anything you want to be, let's empower you, like let's do all this stuff. And I'm having these same conversations with young people who are afraid to come out as conservative. Same thing, Dave.
Yeah, no, it is. All right, let's just dive into that then. So, because I really do feel this now. Because I know what the closeted thing was like as in terms of sexuality. But I see this now, the amount of emails that I get, and when I meet people on the street, and they'll kind of whisper to me, it's not even, they're not even saying, they'll go, you Dave, and then they'll go, it's not even that they're saying they're a conservative per se. They're basically just saying they're not a progressive. That they don't come from the woke monster. You know what I mean? And they're walking around with that feeling that you described a moment ago related to sexuality, where you can't be fully there with someone. Absolutely. And I think there are quite literally, I think there are millions of people in the United States that are walking around in a closeted state, not because they're Nazis or white supremacists or haters or racists, but just because they happen to have either some conservative beliefs or some libertarian beliefs or something like that.
And I see it all the time, and I'm sure you probably get 10 times as many messages as I do. But you see it, and when you go have these conversations, it is the same conversations that I was having with young gay kids that were afraid to come out. I had a conversation with a kid last night. He was just like, man, how do I come out to my friends as conservative? Or how do I come out to my friends as somebody who's like not a leftist? And this is what I always say to them, the real ones will stick around, the fake ones will go. I promise you that. And when, like a year ago, I remember I was visiting my best friend in Vegas, and I was thinking about, I know from my experience, being very prominent in the Don't Ask, Don't Tell thing, that when you come out as something, like you're coming out to make a statement, and it has to be a media moment, and you have to get your face out there because that's what gives other people the strength to come out. And I was like, man, if I don't do this, somebody else is going to do this, because I know I'm not the only black gay Republican out there. I have fans that are black gay Republicans and Latina lesbian conservatives and all sorts of stuff. But I was like, if I don't do this, somebody else is going to do this. And somebody needs to do this because these people need to know that it's okay. And when I take the hits, and you take the hits, and Candace takes the hits, and all these other people takes the hits, it makes it easier for these other people to come out.
So I've asked a lot of my guests that have taken those hits this question. I usually ask it at the end, but what do you think it is about you that allows you to want to take the hits? Or maybe not even want to, that you do, whether you want to or not.
I'm telling you, the Army built something that is indestructible. Indestructible. I served for 5 years. I saw some things in Iraq. I saw some things overseas. And not even outside of that, what the basic training does is it just builds you up into somebody that has a lot of discipline, that can take a lot of hits. And I know enough about media, and I know enough about the people that are making the moves right now. I know that it is important for me to do this because, and I'm telling you, Dave, and you've probably seen the shift in the past 5 to 7 years since you've been doing this and have really been blown up and traveling all the world. There's a shift that's going on.
Yeah.
And I believe
it's real.
And in 3 to 5 years, me being a Black gay conservative, it's just going to be like, whatever. And I hate the fact that the gay community, I'm excommunicated now, so I'm not getting invites to the GLAAD Media
They ain't
Awards.
throwing me either.
Yeah,
We should start our own awards.
We totally should. The Gay Free Thinker Awards, But you get excommunicated, and they're very high level people that, I used to get invited to all the stuff in New York City because I was a gay person in the media. And when I came out last year, it was like silence.
So what does that really tell you about these organizations and sort of like GLAAD and these other organizations that they're for gay people, right? They're supposed to be for gay people, and if they subscribe to intersectionality, they should be for Black people and the rest of it. But you're saying you were in that, they loved you.
Yeah.
You come out as conservative.
We're done with you. What it tells me is, number one, that these organizations are not for all LGBTQ people. They're for LGBTQ Democrats.
Yeah.
First of all, these are leftist organizations.
People really need to understand this. Like, I know I say it all the time, but I think that because people just think GLAAD is for gay people.
Yeah.
This is for this and it's like, no, that's not really what's going on here.
That's not what's going on.
It really takes work to get people to fully understand why that is true.
And there used to be, and we talked about this a little bit before we started filming, there used to be a part of me that wanted nothing more than to be kind of like a gay celebrity. Like, I get to go to the GLAAD Media Awards, and I get to go to the HRC red carpets, and I get to be, and now I realize that what I'm doing right now is so much bigger than any of that stuff. And I'm doing this not for fame, or because the concept of fame has been very strange to me in grappling with this newfound attention. But it's not about being with some D-list gay celebrities on the red carpet. It's certainly not about being with, even though I love.
By the way,
all
usually the ones that they're putting on the red carpet, they're not even gay half the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
I told you, I used to do these red carpets when I had a show on OutQ, and I was interviewing people. I was on the other side of the red carpet, and mostly it was just housewives of New York, these drunk plastic women that are like, I love gays.
Let me tell you something, and I can tell you a story, and she will remain nameless.
Yeah.
But I was actually at,
You'll tell me after.
Oh, I can tell you the name after. Yeah. But I was at one of these award shows, and this was obviously before I came out when I was still getting invited. And this person was just a drunken, sloppy mess.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how is this celebrating gay people? How is this elevating us? And so what you have is, with the GLAADs of the world, this is about bullying Hollywood celebrities into thinking that, you know what, if you don't show up to our red carpet events, you're not supporting, the LGBTQ community. Mm-hmm. So that's what that's all about. The HRC is obviously a leftist organization, like very much so a leftist organization. And what irritates me about this entire thing is that these organizations were not started as leftist organizations. Right. They weren't supposed to be leftist organizations.
Well, because at that time they wanted real equality.
Yeah.
They wanted equality under the law.
They wanted the things that we have right now. Mm-hmm. But to continue to get funding, to continue to be data centers for the Democratic Party, they have to go with whatever far left craziness. And it's the intersectionality cult. And it's being lectured by a queer Muslim at the GLAAD Media Awards about how gays aren't inclusive enough for Islam, and about how the LGBT community needs to accept undocumented people. It's just like all this stuff that it's never what our movement was about. And at the same time, for me, as a gay man, I know that HIV/AIDS rates among young Black gay men are still exploding. We have a huge problem with meth. Like, there's real stuff still going on.
So what should they have done then? Was there a moment that there should have been a course correction? So say gay marriage gets passed, Don't Ask, Don't Tell is gone.
Yeah.
What do you think the organizations, if they had done it right, I mean, is it do they close up shop? Do they?
Well, I think that's what they were afraid of. They were afraid of now that we have this quote unquote true equality, that to close up shop.
Chris Rock, I mean, one of his great lines, the cops need a certain amount of crime.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. And I think that what happened after Don't Ask, Don't Tell repeal and marriage equality were two of the biggest gay rights wins of our generation, like I think of our lifetime. And after that happened, I think that they just needed something else. They needed some more funding. They needed to continue to be relevant. So they've gone into all of this intersectionality, far left insanity. And what I see from being so open and being a gay conservative out here is that there is a large group of gays and lesbians that are conservative that want nothing to do with the leftist nonsense. They don't want to vote with their sexual orientation. They want to vote for their values. They want to vote for with their pocketbooks. You know, they want to vote based on who they are.
So you're saying, let me get this straight.
Yeah.
Gay people are just like everybody else.
Just like everybody else, Dave. Just like everybody
This
else.
changes
Crazy, right? Nuts. Insane.
Yeah, and you'd think, so where are the right gay organizations? Are there any? I mean, like the Log Cabin Republicans, are there anybody that you're out there and you're like, oh, you guys are doing some good grassroots work related to gay issues, if any remain?
It's never going to be the HRCs and the GLADs of the world. It's always the grassroots organizations. It's your Columbus Pride, you know, it's the Brooklyn Community Pride Center. It's like these are the organizations that our money really needs to go to, because these organizations are doing work on the ground to like give young LGBT people access to jobs and education and all the stuff that the GLADs and the HRCs of the world claim that they're fighting for, but really they're just paying a lot of bigwigs like insane six-figure salaries and trying to get Madonna on a red carpet. And God love Madonna. We all love Madonna, but that's not the work.
Yeah.
So I always try to elevate the smaller organizations because they need the time and the money more than the big ones.
For the record, I'm more of a Tina Turner guy.
You're more of a Tina Turner?
Than Madonna, yeah.
I hear she gives an amazing show. I haven't been yet.
I've never seen, well, I don't think she's going live anymore. I think she's done touring.
Is she done?
I think she moved to like Sweden or something.
Yeah.
I think she gave up her U.S. citizenship and she's just riding it out.
Man.
Yeah.